Hello guys and welcome to my new video. So today I decided to have a look at the healing design in Legion and compare it to other expansions, the previous expansions, and basically to decide whether healing should change or be revamped in Battle for Azeroth. Should there be any changes made? Because over the years Blizzard has changed healing, Blizzard has changed mana regeneration for healers so many times. There's been so many different decisions made, and I can see why, because every expansion in some way should feel fresh. Something new should be happening, and there's been revamps in healing happening in certain expansions, and over the time they kind of changed few things. They saw that was working, that wasn't working, and we're gonna change it. So first of all, before going to the previous expansions, things like that, let's look at Legion. Let's look at Legion, especially for the players who just, like, for the first time they installed Legion, they're playing as a healer, they're wondering like how the mana regen works, how the healing, like, first of all, in Legion, mana regen has changed so much while compared to other expansions. In previous expansions and things like Cataclysm and things like Lich King, you had MP5, you had Spirit. These are stats you were able to actually itemize for mana regen. So right now, if you're like a Resto Druid and you're like, I'm running out of mana constantly in Legion, in previous expansions you could get Spirit or MP5 and you will get more mana through itemization. So that wasn't an issue. Right now in Legion, everyone has the same amount of mana. Previous expansions, you could get more mana based on itemization. But right now everyone has the same mana and everyone has the same base regen. Base mana regen. So what do I mean by base mana regen? No matter what you do in the game, you'll be generating mana over time. And that rate of generation is the same for every healer. So as an example, if you're a Restoration Druid, you use 10% of your mana, you press Innervate. Innervate is going to, like, you know, your healing spells are not going to cost any mana. And after, at the end of the Innervate, you'll notice that you're back to full mana because your base regen was working. But that base regen no longer can, you know, give you more mana. It's the same for everyone. And the only way to get mana in Legion is through talents, spells, and abilities. You have things like Innovate for Resto Druids, you have things like Resurgence for Resto Shamans, you have like talents for Mistweavers, which you can, you know, become Fistweaver and go to the boss and attack the boss and generate mana through those means. So you have certain talents, and trinkets as well. Don't forget the mana regen trinkets, but that's basically it. Abilities and trinkets, and you can increase your mana regen through that. You cannot itemize mana regeneration anymore. So technically, mana, if you're playing Legion for the first time, mana has been the tightest it has ever been. Like before, like if you play like Wrath or whatever, where you could get like MP5, where you can stack MP5 like and things like that, you might not even consider mana. Like there were expansions where you don't even think about mana, where you finish a fight with 50% mana and you're like, wow, I went a bit crazy there. Like there were expansions where mana was not a resource. It was not considered at all. It was something it was just there. It was just there. And that has changed a lot over time. Like you notice that in like Cataclysm, like they removed MP5, they went with Spirit, and Spirit, like you got like talents like Meditation, or not talents, abilities like Meditation, which like allows 50% of your mana regeneration from Spirit to continue while in combat. So you could itemize Spirit as a mana resource. Before MP5 and things like that, you also had, well, it was removed in Cataclysm, but there was the 5-second rule, which was really, really weird because it prevented characters' mana from regenerating 5 seconds after casting a spell. So during like heavy AoE as a healer, you would just spam your heals, everyone's full HP, and then you'll stop casting any spells. Any spells that would cost mana. For at least 5 seconds, because after 5 seconds you would start regenerating your mana. So you had these like weird rotations or combinations of healers, like, okay, I'm gonna spam heals here, and then, okay guys, I can't cast for the next 5-10 seconds, so you have to cover for me. It was a really weird design, but that existed before Cataclysm, the 5-second rule. Now that's gone, Spirit's gone, and for the people who don't know what MP5 is, it's basically mana gained per within 5-second window, and like I mentioned before, it was on items, it was replaced by Spirit. From what my personal opinion about itemization, mana itemization, is that anytime Blizzard allows players to stack mana to get mana regeneration to items, people would tend to abuse that power. People overgear the content. Once you overgear the content, you stop worrying about mana altogether. You don't care about it. It's not a resource anymore, and Blizzard, and I see why Blizzard made this change, because they want you to always consider mana as an, you know, not an infinite resource, something to always think about. And by thinking about mana, you'll be more smarter about when to heal. And that's the whole Blizzard's design for Legion. So let's move on, before we're gonna get too crazy. Let's move on to the healing design. Players' health pools. How much do your heals heal for? How powerful are they? This has changed a lot over time as well. In Wrath of the Lich King, like I'll show you a video of this as well, there used to be a much more reactive healing. Like your tank could be topped up in 1 or 2 heals. The whole raid or whatever can be topped up within seconds. It was a super reactive healing gameplay. And if you feel right now you're getting sniped, and by sniped I mean healers trying to be the first ones to heal people. And when you do that, you might be like, okay, that player might have HOTS on them from a Resto Druid. I just healed them up to full, so the Resto Druid loses out. It's too bad. I don't care. Like, if you think sniping right now was bad, if you look at things like Wrath of the Lich King, where like reactive healing was like, someone loses HP, they expect to be full within like seconds. It was a really reactive healing. Some people hated it, some people liked it. It created a more, I don't want to say skillful, it created a more tense environment where people were like really trying to be the first ones to heal the raid. You could see a big difference between someone who was really fast and someone who was like a few seconds too late healing up people, and they would be bottom of the meters. And someone who was really fast would just dominate healing. And this used to happen in pugs and raids and things like that all the time. Now, I don't know how to feel about this reactive healing. I liked it and I didn't like it at the same time. And I tell you why, because I feel in 5-man content, with Wrath of Lich King healing style, it felt more like a healer could carry the group. If the group wasn't that great, if they weren't doing that much DPS, if they were like, you know, not interrupting abilities, they were taking too much damage, a good healer could still be super fast, quick reaction time, and heal everyone up. Mana was not an issue. Mana was not an issue. You could itemize for mana, and you could just, like, you know, be a super reactive player and just carry the group. And I felt during those times you would get a reaction like, oh my god, you did so well, you carried the group, you carried this. In Legion, there isn't that much of carrying to be done. Like in 5-man content, especially in 5-man content, if you're doing a dungeon and whatever, it's either someone's gonna get one shot, or there's going to be so much AoE damage. But if you have reached a certain point with your gear, if you can maintain 1 million, 2 million HPS, that's it. You're done basically, because you will have enough HPS for those heavy AoE parts, and then someone's either gonna get one shot or take half HP from them, and then you can heal them up over time, and it's not an issue. So there wasn't, right now I don't feel there's that much like carry potential in 5-man situations, because it is so, especially at high keys. Like I mentioned, you have the gear to either to out heal heavy AoE phases, and you then have to kind of stack, like, you know, shielding trinkets. They're going to prevent one-shotting people with certain boss abilities. And in Legion, we're seeing much more healer DPS, or healing DPS is being introduced, where, like I mentioned, you reach a certain point with your healing gear, you're going to start using DPS legendaries to help the team with DPS. In Wrath of the Lich King, of course, healer DPS wasn't that big. I don't know, I actually can't remember doing any DPS as a healer, but it was all about that reactive healing. It was all about that maintaining everyone at 100% HP. I would love to hear your thoughts about this. I can see the bad sides and good sides to this healing design. And like I mentioned, what I mentioned in Legion, Blizzard wanted to make everyone's HP be much larger. They wanted healers to think about when are they going to heal, when are they going to put the HOTS on certain players. They didn't want They didn't want everyone to try and snipe each other all the time. They didn't want everyone to heal up everyone to full HP instantly. They even mentioned in a couple of posts, they said like, we'll just keep those players at like 80% HP because our mana is going to be an issue and it takes a while to heal them up. Now, does this happen in real life? No. People are still sniping. People are still overusing their spells. They don't really, like, I mean, if they know how much mana they're going to have, like if they've done that fight over and over, they know exactly how many hots they can put in. They know exactly what mana percentage you should be at certain boss phases. So technically the healing style, it is less reactive, but it's still pretty reactive, if you know what I mean. It's nothing like what it was compared to Wrath of Lich King, but I don't feel that Blizzard has achieved what they set out to achieve in terms of healing. Mana regen, I feel... What do I feel about the mana regen in Legion? What do I feel about a fixed mana regen? I feel it's a good change. I actually feel it's a good change. Mana is definitely something that I think about on every fight. As a Resto Druid, I always bring in a mana regen trinket because I feel I could always use extra mana. And it's definitely a resource that I look after, that I try not to overuse, that I try to be conservative with my chain heals. And I feel they should bring in mana regen into Battle for Azeroth because I like it. It's challenging, it makes you think, it prevents you from over spamming. Overall, I think it's a good change. Now, in terms of the HP of players, in terms of how much my heals heal for, I'm not sure if they achieved what they wanted to do. I don't think they really set out the right goal. Like the right goal was like, we'll keep someone at 80% HP because we can't use our mana. They don't have to be 100% HP. It's not happening right now. Everyone's going to be topped off as soon as possible. There is no that mindset available. I think it would be really cool if they actually really went hardcore with this concept and like really wanted healers to like think about what spells they're using, not topping up everyone. Like imagine healing in Battle for Azeroth where sniping would be removed, where people could not snipe. I would feel that would be really hard to achieve, but it would be something super interesting. Like right now, sniping always happens. People always try to be the first ones to heal a target. What if people would have so much HP that it would take, like people would not want to heal them up to full because they would run out of mana or things like that. They would be like, I'm gonna use my Light of Dawn here. I'm gonna use I'm gonna use Holy Shock, whatever. But I know a Resto Druid is also has hots on them. And I'm just gonna leave them. I'm gonna leave that group. That group is gonna be fine in the next 5 seconds because I need to conserve my mana and things like that. Imagine if that was the healing in Battle for Azeroth. I feel that would be really hard to achieve, but it would be interesting. So before this video gets too long, let me know what you think is the most fun healing design. Super reactive, like Wrath of the Lich King. Did you like that kind of healing? I feel it was more skill based, more reactive healing. Like, I like it and I don't like it at certain points. Do you like the Legion healing overall? Do you like the mana changes? Do you like how tough it is to manage mana right now? Would you want something to be changed in Battle for Azeroth? I'm really interested in your thoughts and your ideas. These has been my opinions about it. I feel the mana regen is great. I feel they should change something about the way that the amount... how much your heals heal for. I feel they could experiment with that and maybe do something else. I don't feel Legion healing was like that revolutionary in terms of like how much you heal a tank, how much you heal a raid member. It's not very reactive healing, but it's not super like, you know, maybe I shouldn't heal them yet, or like maybe I should leave them at 80%. That's not happening right now. So let me know how you feel about healing, and thank you for watching this little discussion video, and I'll see you next time.